The unexpected encounter. It was a warm, sunny afternoon when Alex decided to take a walk along the beach. The ocean waves crashed gently against the shore, and the salty air filled his lungs as he breathed in deeply. He had been traveling for days, trying to escape the noise and rush of city life. The beach was the perfect place for peace and quiet, a place where he could think without distractions. As Alex walked along the sand, he noticed something unusual. Just a few steps ahead of him, half buried in the sand, was an old dusty bottle. It looked like something you might find in an old pirate story, worn and forgotten by time. His curiosity got the best of him, and he bent down to pick it up. The bottle felt strange in his hands, heavier than it looked. The glass was smooth, and there was a faint glow coming from inside. Alex frowned. He had never seen anything like this before. He twisted the cap, and when it opened with a soft pop, a swirl of smoke and light shot out, making him jump back in surprise. In the middle of the smoke, a figure began to form. First, there was a glow of blue light, then a soft shimmer, and before he knew it, a beautiful woman stood before him. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her eyes sparkled like stars in the night sky. She was dressed in a shimmering bikini, her skin glowing with a golden hue. She floated a few inches above the ground, her movements graceful and effortless. Alex stood frozen, unsure whether he was dreaming or witnessing something real. The woman, or whatever she was, smiled at him. "Thank you for freeing me," she said in a soft voice that seemed to echo in his mind. "I am your Genie, and I will grant you 3 wishes." Alex blinked, trying to process what was happening. A Genie. Was he still dreaming? But the beautiful woman was real. Her presence felt real, the warmth of her light surrounding him. He swallowed hard and looked around. There was no one else on the beach, just him and this mysterious figure. 3 wishes. Alex repeated, his voice shaky. "Are you serious?" The Genie laughed softly, a sound like tinkling bells. "I am very serious," she said. "You are my master now, and I am here to serve you. But remember, the first wish you make is the most important. It will set the path for the other 2. Alex's mind raced. He had heard stories about genies before, about the strange powers they held and the tricks they played on the people who made wishes. He thought about asking for something simple, like wealth or fame, but something about the way the Genie spoke made him hesitate. She didn't look like the kind of Genie who would trick him. In fact, there was something different about her, something genuine. The sun was starting to dip lower in the sky, painting the world around them in shades of orange and pink. Alex couldn't help but feel a strange mix of excitement and fear. What kind of wish should he make? What could he ask for that would be truly important? He looked into the Genie's eyes, and for the first time in a long while, he felt like he was standing on the edge of something big, something life-changing. The Genie was waiting patiently, her smile never fading, her eyes full of understanding. I don't know what to wish for," Alex admitted. "I mean, how do you even make a wish like that? Something that changes everything." The Genie's expression softened. "You don't have to know right away. Take your time. But remember, once you make the first wish, it will set everything else in motion. Your destiny will change." Alex thought about the words, destiny. It sounded so grand, so final. What if he made the wrong choice? What if he chose something that ended up making his life worse instead of better? The Genie seemed to read his thoughts. "You may not know what you want yet, but don't worry. I will guide you. But I must warn you." She hesitated for a moment, her smile fading slightly. "Once you make your first wish, there is no turning back." Alex stared at her, a sense of unease growing in his chest. No turning back. What did that mean? What kind of Genie was she? What kind of power did she really have? "Just remember," the Genie continued, her voice now serious, "the first wish is about your heart. It should come from deep within. It must be something that truly matters to you." Alex looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. The wind blew through his hair as the sound of the waves grew louder in his ears. The decision seemed bigger than anything he had ever faced in his life. What should he do? Should he make a wish for something grand, something for himself? Or was there a deeper, more important wish waiting for him to discover? The genie's glowing eyes never left him, waiting, patient and knowing. Alex could feel the power of the moment. This was the start of something. He had 3 wishes, but it was the first one that would shape everything. He took a deep breath, and slowly he realized something. He didn't need to rush. This was his choice, and he would take his time. But something in the back of his mind told him that the first wish was about to change everything. The first wish. Alex stood frozen, staring at the genie who hovered before him, her glowing form radiant in the fading light of the beach. His mind raced. He had always heard stories about magical beings, but this felt different, real. The genie was waiting, her eyes calm but expectant, as if she already knew what he was about to ask. He glanced around, the sound of the waves crashing against the shore filling the air. It was just him and her. No one else. He could hardly believe it. But there she was, floating effortlessly, a creature of magic and mystery. "Well?" the genie prompted, her voice soft but firm. "Have you decided what your first wish will be?" Alex swallowed. His heart beat faster. The weight of the decision felt heavier than anything he'd ever experienced. 3 wishes, 3 chances to ask for anything he wanted. The possibilities were endless, but there was one thing that stood out more than anything else in his mind. He wanted power. Not just money, not fame, but true power, the ability to shape his own fate, to control his future and the world around him. It was something he had always longed for, something that would change everything. Power could fix everything, couldn't it? With power, he could make all his dreams come true. "I wish," Alex began slowly, looking the genie in the eyes, "to become the most powerful person in the universe." The moment the words left his lips, a chill ran down his spine. The genie's eyes widened for a fraction of a second before she nodded solemnly, her golden bikini shimmering in the dimming sunlight. "As you wish," she whispered, and with a snap of her fingers, a rush of energy exploded around him. Alex staggered backward as a surge of raw power coursed through his veins. He could feel it in every cell of his body. His mind raced, thoughts speeding up, everything becoming sharper, clearer. The ground beneath his feet seemed to vibrate with energy, as if the entire world had just acknowledged his new power. But then something strange happened. He didn't feel like he thought he would. The rush of power was overwhelming, but it didn't feel like the freedom he imagined. Instead, it felt like a weight, like something immense pressing down on him. The world around him seemed too big, too vast. He could sense every movement of every person on Earth, every shift of the wind, every star burning in the sky. The genie was floating just ahead of him, watching him carefully. Her expression was hard to read, but there was something in her eyes, a mix of concern and understanding. Alex took a deep breath, trying to steady himself, but the power continued to churn inside him, faster and stronger. It was like he could control everything, but the more he tried to grasp it, the more it slipped away. "Are you okay?" the genie asked, her voice full of empathy. I think so," Alex muttered, his voice strained. This is more than I imagined." The genie tilted her head, studying him with a knowing look. "You wanted power, but power is not always what it seems. You cannot control the universe without paying a price. It can make you feel small, insignificant, even though you hold everything in your grasp." Alex stared at her, trying to process her words. The power was too much. He could feel it trying to take control of him, pushing him to do things, to change things. He wanted to stop it, but it was like trying to hold back a tidal wave. There was too much of it. "You were right," Alex said, his voice quieter now. I thought power would make everything easier. But it's just too much." The genie nodded, her gaze softening. It's not too late to make your next wish, but be careful. The first wish always comes with consequences. It reveals more than you expect. Alex felt the pressure build again, the weight of the power he had wished for growing heavier with every passing second. He wanted to use it, to fix everything, but it was slipping through his fingers like sand. I didn't realize it would be like this, Alex admitted, his voice filled with frustration. What should I do? The genie's lips curled into a gentle smile. You can always wish to undo what you've done, or you can choose a different path. But remember, your second wish will also carry its own weight. There are no easy answers when you deal with such power. Alex closed his eyes, trying to center himself. It was true. He had sought power to make his life better. But now it felt like his life was slipping away. He could feel the world spinning around him, and the immense responsibility of his wish pressing down on him like a mountain. For the first time, he realized that with great power didn't come just freedom. It came with consequences, with responsibility. The Genie was right. He had wanted control, but now that he had it, it was slipping through his grasp. I think I need some time, Alex said, opening his eyes and looking at the Genie. This isn't what I thought it would be. The Genie's expression softened. Take all the time you need, Alex. But remember, the next wish will guide you to where you want to go. You must be careful, though. Once you make your second wish, there is no turning back. Alex nodded slowly, the weight of the first wish still heavy on his shoulders. He had thought that power would make everything better. But now he understood. Power was not a simple thing. It was both a gift and a curse, and he needed to figure out how to use it wisely. As he looked at the Genie, her calm smile reminded him that there was still a long road ahead. He had 2 more wishes, but the next one would be the turning point, and he wasn't sure yet if he was ready for it. The power struggle. The days that followed felt like a blur to Alex. The power he had gained from his first wish didn't simply go away. It clung to him, a constant, overwhelming presence in the back of his mind. Every moment felt heavy with potential, yet every action he took seemed to push him farther away from the life he had once known. The world felt both within his grasp and impossibly far away. It wasn't like the movies or the stories he'd heard as a child. There were no sudden bursts of energy, no grand, heroic moments where he could use his power to instantly fix everything. No, this was different. The power had a quiet, suffocating grip on him, a weight that didn't come with the freedom he had imagined. Alex spent the next few days walking through the city streets, trying to go through his normal routine. He tried to talk to people, to interact as he had before, but it was impossible. It wasn't that people looked at him differently. It was the way he saw everything. He could hear every whisper, feel every heartbeat, and sense the hidden emotions of every person he passed. The simple act of walking into a cafe became overwhelming, as if the entire world were too loud, too vivid, too alive for him to bear. He could even feel the stars in the sky, each one burning with its own light, each one a distant, cold presence. The universe seemed too vast, too complex for him to understand. And yet, here he was, with the power to shape it all. He went home one night, after spending hours staring out at the city skyline, trying to understand his new reality. The lights of the city sparkled below, and for a brief moment, he thought about the life he once wanted. Simple, without the burden of power. But that life was gone, erased by his own wish. The Genie appeared in front of him again, glowing softly, her golden bikini shimmering in the dim light of his apartment. "You look troubled," she said, her voice as gentle as ever. Alex ran a hand through his hair, frustration building. "I didn't think it would be like this," he confessed. "I thought power would make everything better. But now, it's like I'm drowning in it." The Genie's eyes softened with understanding. "Power changes everything, Alex. You cannot simply have it. You must learn how to control it, how to be with it. And that takes time. Most people wish for power, but few truly understand the weight it carries. Alex paced the room, feeling the walls closing in. I didn't think it would be this heavy. I feel like I can't escape it. The world, it's too much. I see everything now, and none of it feels right. Because you are seeing the truth, the Genie replied, her voice unwavering. The truth of the universe, and the truth is, nothing is perfect. Even the most powerful beings are often trapped by their own desires, their own fears. Alex stopped pacing, looking at her. So what should I do? How do I fix this? The Genie hesitated for a moment, her eyes full of knowledge. You cannot fix what has been changed, Alex. You cannot undo the power you've taken, but you can choose what to do with it. Your second wish will shape the future, your future. Alex thought about her words. He couldn't just undo everything. The power was now part of him, tied to him in ways he didn't fully understand. But he had to find a way to control it, to make it work for him instead of against him. You said my second wish would shape the future, Alex said, his voice thoughtful. But how? What do I wish for to make it right? The Genie's eyes darkened slightly, as if weighing his words. The second wish is a turning point. You can choose to make the world how you want it, or you can choose to use your power to bring peace to the chaos you've caused. But be warned, peace comes with its own cost. It is not always as simple as it seems. Alex was silent for a long time, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. He wanted to make everything right, to fix the mess he had created, but what did that really mean? Could he truly bring peace to the chaos, or would his second wish only lead to more complications? I don't know what to do, Alex admitted, feeling lost. I can't even trust myself with this power anymore. It's too much. The Genie floated closer to him, her presence soothing. You don't have to have all the answers right now. The key is in how you use the power you've gained. It's about balance. Power can be a tool, but it can also destroy you if you let it consume you. Alex closed his eyes, trying to center himself. The Genie was right. He couldn't let this power control him. He had to take control of it before it took control of him. I'll think about my second wish carefully, he said, his voice steady. I need time. I can't rush this. The Genie nodded, her smile returning. Time is something you have. But don't wait too long, Alex. The longer you hesitate, the harder it will be to make the right choice. With that, she vanished, leaving Alex standing alone in the silence of his apartment. The power still surged inside him, but it no longer felt as suffocating. He wasn't free of it, but for the first time, he felt like he might be able to control it. He had learned something important. That true power wasn't about having everything at once. It was about knowing when to use it, when to pull back, and when to let things happen naturally. Alex walked over to the window, gazing out at the city below. The night was calm, but he knew the storm was coming. His second wish was waiting for him, and the weight of the universe rested on his shoulders. He had to make the right choice. The truth behind the Genie. The days dragged on, and with each passing moment, Alex felt more and more consumed by the power he had wished for. The universe itself seemed to vibrate around him, as if it were alive, aware of his presence, and responding to his every thought. But still, it wasn't enough. No matter how much power he gained, something felt missing, like an itch he couldn't scratch. One evening, after yet another restless night of staring at the ceiling, he returned to the beach where it all began. He needed answers. The Genie had granted his first wish, but it seemed like there was so much more to her than he understood. The power she had given him was more than just magic. It was a force, a weight, something that had a history he wasn't aware of. As he walked along the shore, the sky a brilliant shade of purple and orange as the sun set behind the horizon, the familiar glow of the Genie appeared in front of him once again. This time, her expression was different, not her usual calm or playful demeanor, but something more serious. Her eyes were filled with a quiet sadness, and her smile was more gentle than warm. Alex, she said softly, her voice like a whisper in the wind. "I've been waiting for you." He stopped in his tracks, his heart pounding. "I need to understand. What are you? Why do I feel like I'm not in control of this power? Why do I feel like I'm being watched?" The genie's gaze shifted to the horizon, as if she were seeing something far beyond the ocean. "You've made your first wish, Alex, but there is a reason why I appeared to you. I am not just a genie of simple magic. I am something much older, something tied to the fabric of the universe itself." Alex's brow furrowed, his mind racing. "What do you mean? You're not just a genie." The genie shook her head, her silvery hair flowing like a stream of light in the wind. "No, I am the last of the Celestials. We were once the guardians of the universe, the keepers of balance. Our duty was to ensure that the laws of reality remained intact. But millennia ago, we were betrayed. The ones we trusted sought to use our powers for their own desires, and in doing so, they fractured the balance." Alex was stunned. "You're telling me you're not just some magic being who grants wishes. You're ancient." The genie's eyes were deep with centuries of sorrow. "I was born long before humanity walked the earth. The Celestials were meant to protect the universe, to make sure the forces of nature, time, and space remained in harmony. But when the betrayal occurred, we were scattered, hidden away in forms that could not harm anyone. I was trapped in this bottle as a last line of defense, waiting for someone worthy to release me." Alex stepped back, the weight of her words sinking in. "So I didn't just find a genie in a bottle. I released you, a celestial being who was once a guardian." "Yes," she said quietly. "And that's why I am bound to you. You made a choice when you released me, but you did not realize the consequences of that choice. I am connected to the power you now wield, and I feel everything you feel. My essence is tied to your wishes. When you granted yourself the power of the universe, you didn't just gain strength, you became a part of it. You are now connected to the balance of the universe, whether you want it or not." Alex felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The power had been overwhelming, but he hadn't understood the true cost. "So my wish for power, it wasn't just about me." "No," she whispered. "Your first wish has made you a part of the very fabric of existence. You're not just in the universe now. You are a part of it. Every action you take, every decision you make, echoes through time and space. You're more than just a man now, Alex. You're a force." Alex tried to process the information. "But I don't want to be a force. I just wanted control. I just wanted to fix things." The genie's gaze softened, but her voice remained firm. "That's the thing about power. It doesn't always give you what you want. It gives you what you need. And right now, what you need is to understand the universe's delicate balance. Because if you don't, you will become a part of the chaos that threatens to destroy it." Alex's heart raced. "So, what do I do now? How can I control this? How can I fix the mess I've made?" The genie's eyes flickered with a brief sadness, and she reached out, placing a glowing hand on his shoulder. "You cannot undo the first wish, but you can choose what to do with the second. You are a part of something greater now, Alex. You have the power to reshape the universe, or destroy it. It's not just about fixing things. It's about finding harmony." Alex looked down at his hands, feeling the energy still swirling beneath his skin. It was as though he was connected to everything in the universe, the stars, the oceans, the people, every heartbeat, every thought, every choice. It was all tangled together in a web that he was now part of. "You're not alone in this, Alex," the genie continued. "I may not be able to control your actions, but I am here to guide you. I will help you understand the balance, but you must decide if you want to restore it, or if you will be swallowed by it." Alex took a deep breath, his mind still reeling from the revelation. He had wanted power, but what he had received was far greater, and far more dangerous than he could have ever imagined. He wasn't just a man with wishes. He was a part of the universe itself, carrying its weight on his shoulders. "I don't know if I can do this," Alex admitted, his voice shaky. "You already are," the Genie replied softly. "But the second wish will test you. Make it wisely." As she faded into the air, her glowing form shimmering one last time, Alex was left standing alone on the beach, the weight of his new existence pressing down on him. He was no longer just Alex, the man who walked along the beach and stumbled upon a genie in a bottle. He was a part of something ancient, something powerful. And with that power came a responsibility unlike anything he could have imagined. The universe was waiting. The second wish. Alex stood on the beach, his mind still spinning from the truth the Genie had revealed. He had always dreamed of power, but never had he imagined the consequences of that power would be so vast, so overwhelming. He wasn't just Alex anymore. He was a part of something much larger, a force in the universe itself. The balance of existence had shifted the moment he made his first wish, and now, everything he did would echo through time and space. He had felt it in the days since his wish, a constant hum in the back of his mind, like a vibration in the air, a sense that the universe was watching him, waiting. The Genie had warned him that the second wish would shape his destiny. The first wish had given him power, but the second would determine how that power would be used. Alex had spent the last few days pacing, thinking, trying to decide what to do. He could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him, the pressure mounting with every passing moment. What did he truly want? Could he fix the damage his first wish had caused? Was peace even possible, or was it just another illusion, like everything else he'd learned about power? But there was something deep inside of him, something that still clung to hope, even as everything else around him seemed to crumble. He didn't want to be a destroyer of worlds. He didn't want to become a puppet to the forces of the universe. He wanted to make things better. He closed his eyes, letting the cool ocean breeze wash over him, trying to clear his thoughts. He needed to make a wish that would restore balance, something that would bring peace without destroying everything he had gained. A soft glow filled the air, and the Genie appeared before him once again, her shimmering form like a beacon in the darkness. This time, her expression was more serious than before, her eyes reflecting the weight of the moment. "You've made up your mind," she said, her voice soft but full of understanding. "The second wish is upon you. What will you choose?" Alex took a deep breath. He had thought long and hard, and now he finally knew what he needed to do. "I wish," Alex began, his voice steady despite the uncertainty that still lingered inside him, "for peace across the universe. I want the chaos to end. I want harmony between all beings. I want everything to balance itself out." The moment the words left his mouth, a wave of energy surged through the air. The ground trembled beneath his feet as the universe itself seemed to respond. The ocean waves crashed louder, the stars in the sky twinkled brighter, and a strange silence filled the world. Alex could feel the change rippling through time, each moment, each life, adjusting to the new order he had wished for. But something felt off. The Genie's expression shifted, her eyes widening with a mix of concern and disbelief. She stepped closer to Alex, her voice barely a whisper. "You've chosen peace, but peace is not as simple as you think." Alex frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" "I wished for peace. Isn't that what the universe needs?" "Peace is more complicated than just ending the chaos," the Genie replied. "Peace is not just an absence of conflict. It is a balance between opposing forces. You cannot erase the darkness without the light, just as you cannot remove the struggle without creating new growth. By wishing for peace in such a broad sense, you have forced the universe into an unnatural stillness." Alex's stomach dropped. "What do you mean? What's happening?" The Genie's eyes shimmered with worry. "The universe is not built to be static, Alex. It thrives on change, on the ebb and flow of conflict. By imposing peace in such a way, you've frozen the natural rhythms of life. The stars will burn brighter, but they will not move. The oceans will calm, but they will become still, lifeless. People will cease to fight, but they will also cease to grow. Alex felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He hadn't realized the consequences of his wish. In trying to create peace, he had made everything unchanging, stagnant. The universe had lost its dynamic nature, and in doing so, it had begun to wither. The energy around him shifted, a palpable sense of suffocating stillness hanging in the air. "No," Alex whispered, his voice breaking. "I didn't mean to destroy everything." The genie reached out, placing a hand on his arm. "You have to undo this, Alex. You have the power to fix it, but you must be careful. The second wish was meant to bring harmony, not to erase the essence of life itself. You need to restore the flow, the balance." Alex stared at her, his mind racing. How could he have been so blind? He had sought peace, but he had failed to understand what true peace meant. He had only imposed his own idea of what was right, without considering the consequences. "I can fix it," he said, more to himself than to the genie. "I can make it right." The genie nodded, her gaze full of both hope and caution. "The third wish will be your final test, Alex. It will restore what has been lost, or it will break you completely." He nodded slowly, understanding now what had to be done. The second wish had been made in good faith, but he had failed to see the bigger picture. Now, it was time to make the final decision. Would he find true balance, or would his actions lead to even greater chaos? The genie faded into the background, leaving Alex alone on the beach, the universe holding its breath. There was no turning back now. The next wish would either heal everything, or tear it all apart. Alex stood at the edge of the ocean, watching the still waters reflect the stars above. He knew what he had to do. The third wish was the final step, the one that would define his legacy. The genie's secret. The air felt heavy as Alex stood on the edge of the quiet ocean, staring into the still, mirror-like water. He had tried to bring peace to the universe, but in doing so, he had frozen it, trapping everything in an unnatural, lifeless stasis. The stars hung motionless in the sky above him, their brilliance dimmed by the stillness he had unwittingly imposed. It was as if the universe had taken a deep breath and held it, unable to exhale. He could feel the power coursing through him, the power that had begun with his first wish and only intensified with each decision he made. It was no longer something he could ignore or control with ease. The weight of it was all around him, pressing in, threatening to crush him under the enormity of what he had set into motion. But deep down, Alex knew he couldn't go on like this. The universe wasn't just stagnant, it was dying. People, creatures, and worlds, their very souls seemed to be held in place, as if suspended in time. No change, no movement, no hope. "Genie," Alex whispered, his voice carrying over the soft roar of the ocean. "What have I done? I tried to fix it. I wanted peace, but now everything's broken." The genie appeared before him, her form shimmering into existence like the faintest star in the night sky. This time, her expression was not calm but conflicted, as if she had been hiding something important. Her golden bikini glistened in the soft light, but there was a shadow in her eyes that Alex had never seen before. "I know what you are feeling, Alex," she said quietly, her voice full of sorrow. "But it is not just the universe that is at stake here. There is something more you must understand, something that has been hidden from you." Alex's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean? What have you been hiding from me?" The genie hesitated before answering, her gaze distant. "The truth is, I am not just a genie. I am the last of my kind, the celestials, the original guardians of the balance of the universe. But I am also something else." Alex frowned, stepping closer. "Something else." "I was created," she continued, her voice trembling slightly, "not only to guide and grant wishes. I was also meant to test the ones who were chosen to wield the power of the universe. You weren't simply granted a wish, Alex. You were chosen for this journey. You, and others before you, were brought here for a reason." Alex felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Chosen? By whom? For what? She looked him straight in the eyes, her expression both sad and apologetic. By the very forces you are now connected to. The balance of the universe is a delicate thing, and there must always be a human chosen to wield this power. The first wish creates a bond, and it is that bond that connects you to the forces that govern everything. The forces of nature, time, and fate. Alex's breath caught in his chest. Wait, you mean, I'm not the only one who has made these wishes? I wasn't the first. No, Alex. There have been others. Generations of people like you who have been chosen to wield this power. Some of them succeeded, while others fell into darkness. Some destroyed everything they touched. Some became so lost in their own desires that they couldn't see the consequences of their actions. You are not the first to make these mistakes. You're just the most recent. Alex staggered back, the full weight of what she was saying crashing down on him. He had thought he was special, that his power was a one-time thing. But now he realized he was part of something much larger, something that had existed long before him and would likely continue long after. Why didn't you tell me this before? Alex demanded, his voice shaky. Why didn't you warn me? The Genie looked away, a shadow crossing her face. I could not. I was bound by the ancient laws of my kind. We are not allowed to reveal the full truth until the moment is right, until the one chosen can truly understand. Your first wish connected you to this power, and I knew that if I told you everything too soon, you might have rejected it. You needed to experience it for yourself. Alex clenched his fists, anger mixing with confusion. But I didn't ask for this. I didn't choose to become part of this. I just wanted to make my life better, to change things for the better. I never asked for all of this responsibility. The Genie's eyes softened. I know, Alex. I know. But now you must face what you've become. You are not just a man with wishes anymore. You are a living force of the universe. You are the balance. And it is your choices that will determine whether the universe will thrive or crumble. He took a step back, his mind racing with questions he didn't have answers for. So, what now? What am I supposed to do? How do I undo all of this? I've already ruined everything. The Genie's face grew serious, her voice low and steady. You cannot undo what has been done. But you can set things right. The third wish is your last chance to restore the balance. It will not be easy, Alex. It will require more than just power. It will require wisdom, courage, and the understanding of what true balance really is. Alex stood there, his thoughts swirling. He had thought the first wish would solve everything. Then the second wish seemed like the answer, peace for the universe. But now he realized that he had barely scratched the surface. There was so much more to the universe than just his desires. There were forces at play that he couldn't possibly understand, forces that had shaped the cosmos long before he was born and would continue after he was gone. Do I have any other choice? Alex asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The Genie nodded slowly, her eyes filled with both sadness and hope. The universe is at a crossroads. Alex, your wish will determine which path it takes. But remember, peace does not mean stillness. True peace is a dynamic balance between change and stability, chaos and order. You must decide what balance means to you. Alex stared at the horizon, where the stars hung motionless in the sky. He could feel the weight of the decision, the enormity of what was about to happen. The third wish would be his final chance to make everything right. But would he truly understand what it meant to restore balance? Or would his choices lead to even greater destruction? The Genie's final words echoed in his mind. Balance is not static. It is not perfection. It is the constant flow between forces, between life and death, light and dark. And for the first time since this all began, Alex wasn't sure if he was ready to make that choice. The final wish. The stars above Alex flickered dimly, their usual brilliance muted by the unnatural stillness that had settled over the universe. The waves of the ocean barely moved, their rhythmic crash on the shore now nothing more than a soft, hollow echo. Time itself seemed frozen, held captive by the power of Alex's first and second wishes. His heart pounded in his chest as the weight of everything that had happened, and everything still to come, pressed down on him. The genie stood beside him, her glowing form flickering like a candle in the wind, but even she seemed to be waiting for something. A shift in the air, a decision that could change everything. "You must make your final wish," the genie said, her voice softer now, as if she too knew the gravity of this moment. "The universe will not wait forever. The balance is fragile, Alex. You are the key to restoring it, or breaking it beyond repair." Alex turned his eyes to her, the expression on his face a mixture of fear, confusion, and determination. "I don't know what balance means anymore," he confessed, his voice strained. "I thought I could fix everything with power. I thought peace would solve it all. But the universe isn't what I imagined. It's not simple. It's not just good and evil. It's more than that. I don't know if I can make the right choice anymore." The genie's gaze softened, and for the first time, she looked more like a weary traveler than the eternal being she had once appeared to be. "You are not alone in this," she said gently. "You have always had the ability to make the right choice, Alex. But you must listen, not just with your mind, but with your heart. The universe isn't perfect, but it thrives in its imperfection. It thrives in its growth, its change." The wind picked up, swirling around them, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Alex looked out over the ocean, at the motionless stars. He realized then that he had been looking for a quick fix, a way to impose his will on the world, to control it, and make it the way he thought it should be. But life, the universe, the balance, none of it could be forced. He had tried to force peace, and in doing so, had frozen the world into something unnatural. "Balance isn't about making everything still," Alex said, his voice firm now. "It's about letting things move, even when it's chaotic. It's about accepting the change, the growth, the light, and the darkness. The balance is the way the universe breathes, the way it becomes." The genie nodded, her eyes shining with a faint, approving glow. "Exactly. The first wish gave you power. The second wish tried to create peace, but peace cannot exist in stasis. Now you must choose to restore the flow, to let the universe breathe once more." Alex closed his eyes, feeling the weight of the moment settle deep within him. He had the power to change everything with his third wish. But he knew now that he couldn't simply wish for the world to be perfect. Perfection would never bring true peace. What the universe needed was not a ruler, but a keeper of balance, a protector of its natural rhythm. "I wish." Alex's voice was steady now, and his words carried the weight of everything he had learned. "I wish for the universe to be restored to its natural flow. I wish for the chaos, the beauty, the change to return. I wish for life to move forward, for growth to happen, for both light and darkness to have their place in the world. Let the universe breathe once more, as it was meant to." The air around him seemed to shift, a surge of energy so powerful it took his breath away. The stars above blinked back to life, twinkling brightly once more, their motion rippling across the sky like the first stirrings of a long-dormant ocean. The stillness in the ocean broke as the waves began to crash against the shore again, their roar loud and fierce. Alex opened his eyes, feeling the world around him come alive. The trees swayed in the breeze, the air tasted fresh and alive with energy. The universe had exhaled. The peace he had once tried to impose had been replaced with a new kind of harmony, a harmony built on the understanding that both order and chaos were necessary. That change was not something to be feared, but embraced. The genie stood beside him, her form now glowing brighter than ever. Her smile was no longer sad, but filled with pride. "You have done it, Alex. You have restored the balance, not by controlling it, but by allowing it to move, by understanding that peace is not stillness, but the natural ebb and flow of life." Alex took a deep breath, feeling the air around him charge with new energy. It was as if the world had awoken from a long sleep. He no longer felt the weight of his power pressing down on him. He had learned that true power didn't come from control. It came from understanding, from allowing things to unfold in their own time. "Thank you," Alex whispered, turning to the genie, "for everything." The genie's smile softened, her eyes twinkling with a hint of mischief. "You were always destined to make this choice, Alex, but you still have one thing left to do." Alex raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" She gestured to the universe around them, the stars now swirling in a beautiful dance, the world alive with energy once more. "Live, you have learned the hardest lesson of all. Now you must live with the consequences of your choices. But know this, you will never be alone. The balance is now within you, and you will always carry it with you." And with that, the genie began to fade, her glowing form shimmering like stardust in the wind. Alex watched her disappear, but he knew that she would always be with him, in every decision he made, in every moment of growth and change. As she faded from view, the universe continued to breathe around him, alive, vibrant, and full of possibility. Alex finally understood what it meant to be part of something greater than himself. The balance was never about perfection. It was about understanding, accepting, and allowing life to flow, just as it was meant to. And for the first time, Alex felt truly free. Free to live, to grow, and to embrace whatever came next.